All right, welcome in. Let me get the camera on. That would help. Huh? And we're going to aim it down here because we're starting out quick with the UPS 767 coming from Louisville. See if I can get ATC on here too. There we go. Look at that. And we'll see if we can put that on here.
That's at 816 Boeing Tower, rolling 14 right, clear lane number 2. Traffic coming in from Blake Island. It's at your
767.
Cessna. They'll pass behind you for the parallel runway altitude in case 1,800. They're presently 2 o'clock and 7 miles.
And clear to land, 14 right, road at 816.
UPS 5982, heavy left turn at Alpha 8, ground point 9.
Oh. Told him Alpha 8, he slammed on the brakes. So I didn't even give a proper intro. Welcome to Geaux Flying. This is Rainy Cajun. That's my show name. And we are here at Boeing Field.
Juliet, traffic citation, Pier 91, inbound big runway, pass behind that traffic, make straight in, runway 14 left.
We are just going to briefly stream today. UPS operations are generally concentrated to super early morning, which I'll never do. Well, never say never, but and we also are we see them happening about right now, which is early evening time. So we've got a couple of planes in. We'll track the 767 as it goes to the UPS terminal.
Northbound turn to get that traffic in sight.
Northbound now, 13 Juliet.
So welcome in. I am flying blind, as it were. I didn't bring a couple of devices with me, so I am not looking at the chat, unfortunately. But, so if you're chatting, my apologies. I'm not responding to you because I can't see you. We're going to fix this eventually, but for now, maybe we might catch some 777X action, but I think it's a little too late in the day at this point.
That's at 816, traffic off your right wing, maneuvering to pass behind you, Cessna. They have 13 Juliet, citation has you inside as well.
Here, 13 Juliet. Boeing Tower, good afternoon, November 304 Kilo Charlie, with you on the ILS 14 right.
304 Kilo Charlie, Boeing Tower, Cessna, passing from right to left for the parallel runway. They're about 5 ahead, no factor. Wind is 2006, number 2, follow citation, mile final, runway 14 right, clear to land.
14 right, clear to land, 4 Kilo Charlie.
I wonder.
3 Victor Hotel, frequency change approved, have a good flight.
Let's take a look here.
Cessna 13 Juliet, when able to change to my east side frequency, 183.
83, Juliet. Juliet, we are about 12 miles to the northwest with officers on the full stop.
Well, it looks like we're streaming.
Cessna 5038 Juliet, Boeing Tower,
let's take a look here. Okay, so we got, that's Rainier Flight Services. That's a local flight school. It's one of their planes, 172. There's Seattle off in the distance. Downtown Seattle. Looks great from a distance.
85 Kilo, can we amend to do a green light, please?
This 85 Kilo approved as requested.
Is this requested?
All right, let's see what else we can pull up here.
7, contact ground, point 9.
7, ground point 9.
I'm going to go to my flight radar just so I can see what's going on around here. Normally I'd have another screen to bring up, but I do not have that with me today. So, yeah, is what it is. It's a wonderful day weather-wise in the Seattle area, which is as what people often think as far as the stereotype being that it's rainy and cloudy and generally miserable here. Yeah, it can be, but it's not terrible today. It is actually quite nice. You can see off in the distance here. We definitely have blue skies. Of course, we got some clouds up there too. See if I can pull them in here. Maybe get my... There we go. So it's not so washed out. You can see that's, it's decent.
4 Kilo Charlie, the heavy UPS is going to start crossing the short runway, but they'll hold short of your runway at Alpha 3.
All right. So you can see the UPS terminal over there. We got a UPS crossing the runway. I believe this one is, well, they just landed, so I'm not really sure where they're going. They are hanging out. Interesting. Oh, no, they parked, so this one might be departing. So you can see across the way here, that is the UPS barn, so to speak. That's the distribution center. And, yeah, that's, you can tell there's 767, 767, 757, 767, and then way in the back there, beyond that,
will be over on the other side by the time you get here.
Kind of, let's see if we can look. The tail that's just kind of dead center right now. That is an MD-11 that has been grounded since the accident last November. So we're not going to see that one flying anytime soon. Then again, I have seen, I'm sure those of you who are aviation enthusiasts have probably seen the news that FedEx is bringing them back, which is pretty interesting. And apparently they are sometime in May, later this month maybe, they're going to be up in the air again. And I'm not really sure. There's some, based on what I read, there was some additional training or, I don't know, refresher training for the pilots. Don't know how I'd feel about that if I was a pilot or was a captain on an MD-11. There's a Sun Country charter right there. That came in right when I arrived. Not really sure. There were two charter buses that picked up, so that I'm assuming that's a team. I'm assuming that's a baseball team because it is baseball season. So it's quite possible that that whoever the Mariners are playing, they arrived today. But I have not checked the news. I literally got off of work, came down here, updated the navigation database in the aircraft, and then wheeled my camera equipment out to the ramp where I'm standing right now and fired up the live stream. So last time I did a live stream, I was actually in, it was at SeaTac, and when I shut everything down, it said that I'd used 80% of my data. Now, I like to stream at 60 frames a second. I just feel like that looks better. But, because everything's moving so quickly. But then again, that might not be the most conducive for an economical way to stream this content to you. Then again, I'm open. I'd love to stream 4K to you guys, but the equipment that I use is capable of doing 4K with the exception of the camera switcher that I'm on right now, which is a Rodecaster Video. Believe it or not, we are streaming through a little hotspot device. Oh, sorry for the noise. If you get those little booms, that's actually my phone. I'm using Bluetooth. Okay, well, little peek behind the curtain. What's going on here? I use Bluetooth to stream from my phone the ATC down into the Rodecaster, and I haven't turned off all the notifications yet. And I don't normally use my phone for this stuff. So, we're just going to have to put up with it collectively together. That's fine. You guys already have no. And it appears that my wife is she's actually cleaning the front porch area, and that's what's setting off the camera notifications. So if you want a little, like a real peek behind the scenes, that's what's going on.
Skyhawk 739er Delta with you at 2000.
Lots of, as I was sitting around doing some work, I definitely heard several biz jets come in, and they have been consistently coming in and out of here. And then obviously we've got some general aviation aircraft as well, like this little 172 up here. And that is great.
For traffic south of Mount Baker Tunnel, they're correcting now to be over the shoreline, outbound green light departure.
So this is not nearly as impressive as, say, going for a, an A350 1000. But this is one of the things about Boeing Field that I keep talking about. Being based here in the Seattle area, I have really 4 airports to choose from. Of course, you've got Seattle International. They don't call it SeaTac anymore. Just a heads up. I'm going to keep saying this probably for the next year or so. They don't call it SeaTac. It's called Seattle International Airport. And the logo's changed and everything like that. The city of SeaTac, where the airport is, still remains SeaTac. But that's a governmental thing. They'll probably change in 30 years, the way governments work. But the thing that we have here, we have access. I'm here at Boeing Field, clearly. Well, not clearly if you don't know Boeing Field. It's a little tower. Boeing Field sits underneath the Seattle Class B airspace. So Class B airspace or Class Bravo airspace, if you were to look at it, it looks like an upside-down wedding cake. Seattle's in particular has a little bit of a funky shape to it, but generally speaking, they block out altitudes based on distance from the airport. And we are sitting underneath the first real layer where there's a surface to a certain altitude where Seattle does not, where the TRACON does not control this area. This is airspace for the field, and so where we are at the moment is surface to 1,000 feet. So all aircraft taking off out of here, if they're flying VFR, visual flight rules, they will be staying underneath that Class Bravo, because I guarantee you are not getting into Seattle's Class Bravo if you're a Cessna 172, or you're overflying the field midfield, which some 172s can do. I've done it once, but yeah, that's just kind of the way things happen around here. So anyway, we're underneath that. So most of the big jets that are taking off out of here, the 777X test aircraft, the 737 MAX 10, MAX 7s that are being tested right now, all of those, they're on IFR instrument flight rules, so they just go straight out, contact departure, and away they go. In the case of the general aviation aircraft, they all are staying below 1,000 feet around here. Pattern altitude's about 700 feet. Pattern meaning you're flying in a rectangle. That's essentially one side of the rectangle is a runway, and the other 3 sides are the pattern that you're flying. So we'll talk about all that stuff as I move on. Obviously, or if you didn't know, I'm a pilot. I've been a pilot since I was 18 years old. I literally got my pilot's license 2 years after my driver's license. And some people overachieve and get their pilot's license before they get their driver's license. Regardless, I've been doing this a while, so I've never went commercial. I got into tech instead, and which at the time paid a lot more money. So that's why I'm doing this is a hobby now, because I'm still in tech. And it still does pay pretty good, and aviation is still very much a hobby that we get to enjoy from time to time. So I see way over in the distance, you can actually see it right off the wingtip. That is, that's that 767, that UPS 767. They're still kind of hanging out. Now, if we look a little bit up top here, where are you? There you are. So, it just so happens that where Boeing Field is directly in the flight path of Seattle International. And that is the Alaska 787 with the new Aurora livery. If you haven't seen that before, now you are.
I apologize, I didn't write it down. Where did you say you were parking again? Delta, you can continue right on down the runway to Alpha 7. Make the left turn at Alpha 7, then contact ground on point 9, or they'll get you the rest of the way.
So congratulations, if you haven't seen this one in person yet, it's a 787. 787s are gorgeous aircraft. They obviously been around for a while now, so they're not as rare to see. But the liveries, especially the Alaska livery with the new Aurora color scheme, is just, it's gorgeous. So, yeah, you just got a chance to see that. It looks like we have another UPS flight coming out of the barn. And again, if you're chatting in the window, if you're there, I can't see who's really online at the moment because this is one of the shortcomings of using the Roadcaster for my my video work. I don't know who's chatting right now. So if you're in there chatting, I can't respond. I'm sorry. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. But thank you for joining. One of the great things about Boeing Field really is the mixture of aircraft. One of the most difficult things about Boeing Field is the fact that there are no schedules for most of the test aircraft. UPS is the only one that I can count on, and that's why I decided to base this live stream off of UPS's flights, because I at least know their schedule. But for me, I can't base anything off of anything. The Boeing test aircraft that come and go, they're not on any schedule. As a matter of fact, if you use flight radar at all, you can track what Boeing test aircraft are going out. Problem is, and we encountered this, I think it was last week, where I was streaming and we kept seeing this 777X that was out over Moses Lake. Moses Lake is in central Washington, which is like the high desert. You looking at the terrain here, you're kind of going, I don't see a desert. Yeah, no, this is all evergreen trees. It's not until you hit the mountains where you will start to see brown, lots of brown, and all of a sudden it's just like, high desert with sagebrush and stuff like that. Anyway, Moses Lake is out there. So Boeing frequently goes out to Moses Lake for test operations. Okay, so we got a flight that's clear to land, another UPS heavy. And so last week we had this 777X that was just doing its thing, and it kept looking like it was coming in, and flight radar kept saying that it was going to be, it's updated, or estimated at this time, and it just never showed up. And literally, guys, for those of you that are watching that stream, and you can go back and you can watch it, I've tried to, moving forward, I've tried to chapter mark everything so that you don't have to sit there and listen to what we're doing right now, which is kind of dead time. But there are times where I'm clearly frustrated because I think it's coming back, and that it turns and does another set of circles somewhere out over the high desert. Anyway, as I was leaving and I was driving away back to my house, which is probably a half-hour drive from the airport, I see the 777X coming in, and I was, if you had been in the car next to me on the highway, you'd probably been like, what is wrong with this guy? Because frankly, I lost it because I so wanted to show you guys that. But I don't know how many test flights are actually going to happen now, given that there is, the have the commercial aircraft out now. So you know, as far as I can tell, there's a Boeing truck. As far as I can tell, they're still continuing the operations for the test flights. And we got our heavy on final here, right out there. And so I don't know how many more times I'm going to get a chance to share that with you. So I might have to go up to Paint Field so you can start seeing all these other new unpainted 777X's, 9s. They're 9s. Sometimes some of them are 10s, but you know, coming out, and then you know, show you them taking off there. But this is the delivery center. That's the interesting part. This is where Boeing delivers its aircraft to its customers, regardless of what it is.
Okay, we'll slow it right down. Skybase 607.
All right, so here's our UPS 7, I believe 767 from Portland. Yep, from Portland.
4 left for 10 more 1710.
4 left for 10 more 1710 straight. We have the Falcon and the Sea Ray in place.
So today also, because you can tell that right now the camera is pointed more or less north, we have a southerly flow with our aircraft, which is fine. But it also means that a lot of the aircraft, especially like if today was going to be one of those, he must have been really light. Wow, he slowed down real quick. All the other UPS planes went to at least the next 2 taxiways down. Anyway, when you have the north flow, I can go to Seattle International. I can also go to Boeing Field here. I can go to Renton, and that was one of the other airports I was talking about that I can go to. And you know, it's fine. The flow is perfect for catching. If you've seen some of the past videos that I've done, the live videos that I've done, they are they're with north flow. North flow is great. South flow gives us this, but south flow also gives us this, which is something we don't get with a north flow. So this is 767, UPS 767 departing. We just had an arrival, now we got a departure.
Okay, this 607, we've expedited the heavy that's on the runway. They'll be clear by the time you get here. Okay, no problem. For Skybase 607, we're at mid-speed now. Come on. More 1710, that heavy on the big runway is going to cross your runway at Alpha. More 1710, thank you.
I don't know what this 767 is doing. They do not look like they are taking off. They are definitely not taking off. That's an interesting one. So this 767 went all the way down to the end of the runway, which is runway 14 right. And it decided not going to take off. So I'm going to look into this. It's supposed to be going. Okay, we got another flight coming in. But, yeah.
3 mile final, runway 14 left, clear to land. 200 at 6, and you can roll for the end. Number 2, 14 left, clear to land.
So yeah, not really sure what's going on there. Changed their mind, didn't want to fly.
I'm sorry if I missed it. Ken Mark 17, are we clear to land as well? More 17, 10 affirmative, runway 14 left, clear to land. Land 14 left, more 17, 10, thank you.
Huh.
More 1710. The heavies on Alpha, they're just
they're definitely going back to the UPS terminal.
Inside, no problem. More 1710.
That is interesting. Stepping on those brakes. So this is a Falcon 900EX from not available and to not available. Gotta love that. Come on, flight radar. We don't know where this came from, really? We know where it ended up. So that's going to be interesting. So now we've got some...
884 Boeing Tower, yep. 84, runway 14 right, clear for takeoff, 2088.
Huh. Okay, it sounds like...
40, cosmic 7, supporting Boeing 757 off the parallel.
So it says 757 off the parallel. Okay, there it is. Okay, I see it. I thought flight radar was lying to me. But there it is, 757.
More 1710, turn left at Alpha.
Hope everybody's evening or morning or daytime is going great. Again, this is Geaux Flying. Just kind of a channel, Seattle aviation. I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of aviation activity here. I mean, it's everywhere nowadays, but this is home to the original Boeing plant, the Red Barn. It's also home to the Museum of Flight. Great spot. If you're into aviation, this is a great place to come visit, just to see things like this. You can, if you go to the Museum of Flight, you'll be able to very easily just sit there and watch these aircraft take off and land right here at Boeing Field. So that was clearly an IFR departure because he's very close into Seattle airspace at this point.
There's two targets out there, one that's just short final now and then one that's about a mile south of the stadium.
All right, let's go turn back
one near the stadium.
Towards our airfield here. Let's see what we see.
Got that one inside. Very nice guys.
Thank you.
Helicopter activity. There is a extensive amount of helicopter activity here at the field, as you can clearly hear. Robinson R22s, R44s, see those quite a bit here. We also have a neighbor in a hangar just kind of south of where I'm standing right now that has a MD-500, a Hughes MD-500. If you're not familiar with what that is, look up Magnum PI helicopter. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Pretty cool aircraft. I still want to get a ride in that thing because I think it would be awesome. But guess you got to know people. Just one of those days. Look at the sky up here. A little bit washed out. Let's see if I can dial that in a bit. See those colors there. Some days when I come here, I'll get it's a 44. We're going out to the taxiway and they will depart. Some days we'll get lots of Boeing aircraft in here that are doing tests. And when I say tests, I mean like they are literally, doing full-on rejected takeoff tests. They're doing just stuff that you wouldn't normally see at a regular airport, which is what is really cool about Boeing. That's one of the things that I really like about Boeing Field is that the mixture, it's not your typical I don't know the best way to put it. It's not your typical general aviation airport because it's far from a general aviation airport. It's a really cool place to visit because of just the mixture. The problem is that unlike a regular airport, commercial airport. Oh, look at that. There's a lake over there. Where are you? There you are. Haven't seen one of those in a while.
Look over 76 Bravo traffic over Bellevue, inbound Bellevue arrival Cessna. Looking for the Cessna, 76 Bravo. 85 kilo traffic left crosswind outbound Seward departure
that's
towards
really dark.
the east is a helicopter. 85 kilo,
that's better.
Thank you. 85 kilo, which runway you want?
Not sure if any of you are familiar with the lake aircraft, but kind of a hybrid land float plane. Pretty cool aircraft. Not the most practical utility-wise, but if you are somebody who just has a significant other and not planning on flying a ton of cargo, it's actually not a bad aircraft. And if you happen to have a lake house too, that kind of helps. Assuming you own a lake aircraft and you own a lake house, you're doing pretty good. Okay, so what we've got now over at UPS is, if you don't count the MD-11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 UPS aircraft here. And most of these guys are scheduled to scoot out of here this evening. I'm not entirely sure how long I will stay online, but we'll keep going at it. We'll keep going at it as long as we can. And I thank you for coming in. If you haven't heard already, I cannot see the chat today. So if you're chatting with me or you're asking questions, best thing to do is that you can just ask the question in the chat. That's totally fine. I'll do my best to respond later on. I will chapterize this like I do most of my other live streams, just to make it a little bit easier for you to just see the important stuff, the planes that are taking off and or landing. This guy is crabbing is not even the word I would use. It's definitely windmilling. You can tell where the winds are coming out of because this thing is getting blown around. Now it's finally going to turn into it. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can catch up with that. There it is. Yep. Turning outbound. So you can see when they turn to the west, well, you don't know which direction is west, but I'm kind of pointing northwest at this point. When they turn to the west, they have to stay below 800 feet just because of where is it?
278 Bonanza traffic 3 north of Blake Island, southbound 3
somewhere around here. There it is.
They're tagged up to come here,
inbound traffic into Seattle. I said it. Seattle International.
46287, appreciate the call.
That's a Delta 737. Where Seattle International is not the most, what's the best way to put this? Not the most, sorry, I'm just adjusting this here. Not the most convenient place to live stream from. As a matter of fact, it's probably one of the worst airports to live stream from because there is no place to set up a camera and live stream from. Now that's supposed to all change. Now, this is the thing. It's supposed to all change because we have what we understand to be an observation deck, and because Seattle has a what they call visitor pass now, where you don't need to have an actual boarding pass to go on or past or you go into the secure side, I guess. That that now you do not need to worry about. You know, you could just be just a regular person living in the area or somebody visiting and just go in. That said, they have not made it very clear about who they're going to allow to set up or what we're going to be able to set up. So, knowing that,
Good afternoon. Gulfstream 832 Whiskey is
I'm willing to bet that we will likely not get any kind of special privileges as plane spotters, and certainly any kind of plane spotters that make a living or make some kind of income off of this. I have a feeling that this is kind of the trend, but I have a feeling that they're going to start charging for plane spotters to set up there, even if you don't monetize your channel, which is unfortunate because I mean you guys just come in. We have visual. Man, oh man, what an adventure this has been today. Okay. So here we are. Welcome back to Geaux Flying. If you haven't been around or you've been checking in and kind of dipping out, that's fine. Totally cool. We are here at Boeing Field. It is 6:45, 7:45 for you uninitiated folks. And here we are. So one of from UPS, and we have some other aircraft coming in here as well. Not coming in. Already going to departure. Let's make that more local, shall we? See if we can find our device to stream to. Go ahead and connect to that. See if we get our audio over. So yeah, here we are at Boeing Field. We are also in the arrival path of anything going into Seattle International, formerly known as SeaTac. So we get all kinds of crazy aircraft coming through, around. But it does get kind of quiet towards this portion of the day. And you know what? I will stick around for as long as I think is necessary. I do believe, let me look at flight radar here real quick and see if we can see what is going to happen with Boeing Field in terms of departures. Okay, so we've got 20 minutes. We've got a 767 leaving. We also have a 757 leaving, so and those are within 10 minutes of each other. And then a little bit after that, we've got a flight to Ontario, 767. And then we have another departure. So if you look at the UPS aircraft across the way there, unfortunately, during the time that I was offline dealing with my mobile data hotspot stuff, we missed one of the UPS flights getting out of here. But regardless, we have 4 UPS aircraft over there, and I'm hoping to catch at least a few of them as they depart today. So if you've never been to the Seattle area, Boeing Field lies about 5 miles north of Seattle International, and it's kind of situated in between the city of Seattle, the downtown corridor of Seattle, and Seattle International. This is the airport where Boeing conducts most of its customer deliveries. There's the control tower there. It is located in what can be best described as a valley. So there's a lot of wind, as you can probably hear, whipping through here. And that's quite common. Normally the wind kind of goes straight down the runways, but today it's coming from the west. It's I don't know what the current information is for the airport, but I do know that it is definitely not coming straight down the runway. It's coming from the west at this point. So this is the kind of day we call this a south flow. So this is, you can see this aircraft. So Seattle's to the north, so you can see this aircraft is going to our south. This is I'm guessing a 172. But yeah, we typically get wind straight down the runways here, which is great for just arrivals and departures. Very little crosswinds, but what I'm feeling today is definitely something out of the southwest, which is about 35 to 45 degrees off of center line for the runway. And you can see that that's evidenced by some of the aircraft that have been taking off, especially the lighter airplanes, the general aviation planes. If you're commenting, and I haven't really checked, but if you are commenting in the chat, I appreciate it, but unfortunately I cannot see it with the equipment that I brought with me today. I am here at Boeing Field actually doing work. Well, it's volunteer work, but still, nevertheless, I came out here to do work, and I figured I'll turn this into a little bit of a live stream too. So we'll hang out here for a little bit. I'm looking at the departures. We've got 30 minutes until the 76 from Seattle to Louisville goes out, and then we have 10 minutes after that, Chicago 75. So, well, yeah, we'll stick around here for a little bit longer. But eventually, I need to get home and make some dinner. But I do welcome you into the channel, and thank you so much for stopping in. I know that there are a ton of aviation-related, especially plane spotting-related channels out there. And when you come in, you stop in and support the little guys, not the big channels that have all the fancy graphics and all that other stuff. No, it helps. It really does help, and it shows support for all us little YouTubers who are just trying to make a dent in the universe with our own channels. So this particular channel, Geaux Flying, is dedicated predominantly to the Seattle area because that's where I live. But I'm also, obviously looking at other opportunities, other places to go visit. But here we have Paine Field, we have Seattle International, we have Boeing Field, where I'm at currently, with ramp access, which is really nice. And then we have Renton. And so, between Seattle, Boeing, Paine, Renton, there's quite a few airports to go witness activity at, and Seattle International obviously is a big one. Days like today, when it's a south flow, though, it really does make it a bit challenging to catch anything at Seattle because there's not a lot of places to plane spot. And as I was mentioning at the beginning of the stream, Seattle is putting in a observation deck, and we shall see. Oh, they're going to the north now. Did we switch to a north flow all of a sudden? Huh. Let's see what's going on here. Because I did lose ATC. Let's see what's going on. And flying right above us here is Alaska 737-900 from Detroit. Not the closest in shot, but hey, it gives you an idea of the distance between Seattle International and Boeing Field. It's quite close. That reminds me of Van Nuys and LAX a bit. Oh, we have another aircraft. Okay. Another Alaska. Here. This one's from Anchorage. You know what? I want to get up to Anchorage.
Cherokee 5, Charlie Whiskey, runway 14 right, Bravo 1, clear for takeoff, winds 2009er. Cherokee 5, Charlie Whiskey, affirmative, runway 14 right, Bravo 1, clear for takeoff.
I think they said winds about 9 knots, so it's not that bad. It was gusting to 14 a little bit earlier. Again, not terrible for most of the larger aircraft. The general aviation aircraft, they were windmilling a little bit, but nothing bad. So you can see that's the skyline over that ridge. That is downtown Seattle. See if I can get over to, oh wow, Mount Rainier has decided to go completely incognito. You can maybe make out some of the ridges, but yeah, Mount Rainier is literally like dead center of this shot. And you probably see it a little bit, but yeah. So this plane's going to Ellensburg. Ellensburg is it's an Archer.
Charlie Whiskey, contact Seattle departure. You guys have a safe flight back.
Departure 5 Charlie Whiskey.
Oh,
Thanks for your help.
they're Central Washington University. Okay, so that's their aviation program that plane took off.
Welcome back. Runway 14 right, cleared land. Winds are
20088. So not about 60 degrees off of center line. Oh, lost this guy. Where are they going? They're going to Renton. Renton's like right next door. I'm not really sure why they're going there, but 172. Okay, let's see what's inbound here. Let's see, from Seattle, Mexico City, we've got an Aero Mexico 737-800, which I see. There. So, wow, they're moving. here is not down. Normally at this point that would be down. Oh, there they go. So as you might be able to tell from the clouds here, we're going to be looking at some rain pretty soon here in the Seattle area. I don't know, right? Shocker. But what I'm hearing is that tomorrow is a 95% chance of rain, which is like, well, why not just call it 100%? But at that point, maybe I'm in the 5% that doesn't get rained on, but whatever. So we're going to have rain for the next few days, and it's pretty evident by the cloud cover that I'm looking at right now. But as we go further and further into the summer, Seattle will become drier and drier. And this grass, folks, this grass here will become brown, very brown, like that, but worse. Excuse me there. What do we got here? Oh, this is from Toronto. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Oh, there you are. 737 MAX 9 from Toronto. This is Alaska. So being in the flight path at Boeing Field for Seattle International does make for some interesting photography, but you need to have like a 600 to 800 millimeter lens, which is generally not something most of us plane spotters have. Okay, we have a plane on final. It's a Pilatus PC-12. One of the things that I do not, and I say this with the most, I don't know what's the best way to put this. I say this in a way that it's not condescending, but it's also very, it's true. Seattle now has way too many 737s and E175s. It's just too much. There is a decent amount of heavy activity that happens at Seattle, of course, because it's an international airport. But at the same time, there is a lot of commuter activity. And what's happened in the United States, at least, E175s, Embraer's 175s have just taken over the short hop market. And if you're, and 737s have as well. So heck, you can right now. Iceland Air is they're taking 737-800s to Reykjavik from Seattle. It's like, what? There's no heavies? No, they don't do heavies. It's 737s now, man.
Alpha Lima, looks like you got 3 cross runway 14 left. You can taxi airlift Alpha, just monitor ground. Have a great night.
All right, so that Pilatus is down.
Alpha, you can taxi to customs, the Alpha.
Yeah, Alpha, just halfway down.
So we'll, I think we'll hang out here a little bit longer for the UPS flights that are going to be going out pretty soon. We've got Louisville at, well, right now they're saying 7:30, so that's 30 or 25 minutes out, something like that. So we'll hang tight. I wish I could chat. This is the one thing that this drives me crazy right now, is because I didn't bring that one extra device that lets me look at the chat. I have no idea what you guys are saying right now. So you could be saying incredibly nice stuff, incredibly mean stuff, and I would have no idea. I'm gonna have to go back and moderate all that junk. But one of the things about plane spotting, especially for people like us, where we're here. I am out on the ramp. It's not like I can just plug into an outlet that's somewhere close by. There's nothing. So I, obviously running off of batteries, and there is just there are times where there are things that are not going on, and you have to fill the time. But I think every now and then we'll catch some flights coming in and some rarities. Let's see what's going on at SeaTac. I said it. Let's see what. Okay, so they've got, well, of course, a 175, 320, 321, 737-800, 737-800, E75. See, this is what I'm saying. There is literally there's nothing. Everything is 737. Okay, we do have a flight from Taipei. We have it's a A350-900, and this one. Let's see. Can I pull it up here? Is this the? Okay, agreeing close. But... Oh, this is the Pikachu flight. Okay, so the Pikachu flight's coming back. This is China Airlines. They were here not too long ago, actually. Okay, why can't I get out of that? All right, we will get there. Okay, so the China Airlines from Taipei at 7:15 local, and it's estimated 7:17. Okay, so basically it's 7:15. What else is coming in? Anything fun? Nope. So, okay, we got at 7:30, we've got a EVA Air 787, and yeah, that's kind of it. So that's fine. So between what we got going on at Boeing Field and what we got at Seattle International, I think there's a decent amount. We just have to be patient and wait for that. So one of the nice things about plane spotting is that you got some time between your hands, and that's also one of the curses of plane spotting is you got time between all the flights that are coming in. So what you hear is right there. So again, that's going to Seattle. If I had a slightly longer lens, and when I say slightly, I mean like at least 3 times what I have on the camera right now, I would probably go out to Seattle. Yeah, but it's not happening. Not happening at the moment. So we do have the Sun Country over here. I mentioned this earlier in the stream. This is a charter for sure. Who it's for, that part I don't know. But Sun Country definitely, they've been here quite a bit. I'm guessing it's for the team that the Mariners are playing, which I probably should look up, but I'm too lazy to do that. So that's probably who they're here for. But you can see across the way, just kind of get a lay of the land, so to speak. that hangar over there is Modern Aviation. That's also their FBO, the fixed base of operation. Quite a bit of BizJet traffic. So when I say BizJet, I mean like smaller, private aircraft. Modern Aviation, and that's pretty much over there. Go a little bit more to the north here. Some of these buildings are not marked, which leads me to believe there are things that I should not be knowing. I'm not really sure, but of course, a little bit more to the north here, we've got UPS, and it looks like we do have an aircraft that is got its beacons on, so maybe they're pushing back fairly soon. Maybe yep, they are pushing back, so it's time for them to get out of here. That's a 7-6 for sure. Good timing. And while they're pushing back, I will go a little bit further north, of course, downtown Seattle here, and then the approach end of runway 14 left and run 14 right. And then here's our tower, our nice little tiny tower. They probably wouldn't appreciate it if I called it that, but it is small compared to Seattle International. And then if we go, we're gonna kind of pan all the way to the south here. So hope you don't get motion sickness easily, but all the way to the south, you can see how the bridge line kind of slopes down here. This is a valley I'm talking about. So underneath this this is a Cardinal. No, it's not a Cardinal. This is a 182 RG. Okay. Anyway, you can see Mount Rainier off in the distance there. The sun is, I don't know where, but it's still up in the sky. It hasn't, definitely not, I think sunset for us today is 8 something. Anyway, so that's Mount Rainier, so that's to the south. You can see some gray. Oh, thank you, Siri. Siri just told me sunset is at 8:30. I don't know why Siri.
Today, sunset will be at 20:36.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. And I have an Australian Siri. You can see there is some gray tipped aircraft. Those are 767s. Those are tankers that are parked here. And you see them fly every now and then. They're on my intro that I play from time to time. Nice folks. Really nice people. Well, I mean, I think they're nice. When they drive by or taxi by, I guess, they wave to me every time. So I guess that's kind of nice. But in any case, we've got, and then a little bit over to the left of that, you see the kind of the beige and then the gray kind of wedge-shaped building here. That is the Museum of Flight. So whenever you come to Seattle, if you don't live in the area, you come to Seattle, go to the Museum of Flight. If you're watching this channel, you're clearly interested in aviation, go to the Museum of Flight. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. I mean, I've had 4 kids, and 25% of them, meaning 1, got into aviation. And I'm pretty sure it's because I took them to places like that and also took them flying. So make sure to do that. If you want to instill that kind of aviation love into your kids, your offspring, you got to take them to a place like a Museum of Flight or the National Air and Space Museum in DC. Either one of those, absolutely worth the price of admission. No questions asked. All right, so we've got our 767 with its beacons on, and I somehow lost air traffic control again. Don't know what's going on. We'll get it back. You can probably hear, as a matter of fact, I know you can hear because I can see the level meters going, that there is wind noise coming through the microphone. I apologize for that. I tried to keep the wind noise to a minimum. Unfortunately, being out on this kind of plateau in a valley makes it a little bit challenging to get rid of the wind noise because they just come out of nowhere. All right, so our 76 is spooling up. Yep, and those winds are picking up for sure. But I can hear that 76 going. Oh, here we go.
Tower City 1288, ILS 14 right.
City 1288, Boeing Tower, welcome back. Runway 14 right, clear to land.
1288.
City 14, Boeing Tower, good evening.
That's our Pikachu plane, I believe. Yes, it is. That's our Pikachu plane. All the way from Taipei. And we saw this one last week. Bye, Pikachu. Yeah, sounds like our helicopters are going somewhere again. Let's see where they are at.
Helicopter 76 Bravo, spotting clear for takeoff, southwest off, no departure approved.
All right, southwest departure approved. So they're gonna go. They're gonna come out over taxiway Bravo, which is right here, and then they'll do a. Oh, we got a DHL 767 here.
Boeing Tower, good evening. Fly the Bellevue arrival, report Mount Baker Tunnel.
Fly the Bellevue arrival, report Mount Baker Tunnel. Just a heads up, we'll be inbound.
There's our helicopter.
Yes, that's fine. If you just want to make the
Robinson
left turn,
R44.
now that's approved.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's okay.
Okay. Looks like he's getting blown over. Yeah, well, I'm just going to go this way because that's the way the wind is taking. So you'll hear here at Boeing Field, you'll hear like Bellevue arrival. You'll also hear that UPS flight is going over there. You'll hear, oh, hello. We got another aircraft here. Looks like a Delta A350. And again, SeaTac. All right, let's go back to our field here. Oh, got a corporate jet.
Jet 814, contact jam departure. Have a safe flight, great night.
Thank you, sir. Executive 814, have a great day.
So that was the jet that just took off. So they already went to departure frequency. Departure frequency, for those of you who don't know, departure frequency is the frequency that they tune to once they've taken off, and the tower is handing them off to departure. Departure picks them up on radar and then basically guides them out of the airspace, and then they get handed off to, generally speaking, they'll get handed off to center. Center is the controlling area for the airspace around here. Sometimes they'll go from one departure frequency to another. Just depends on how big the airspace is, how busy it is. But generally speaking, you'll go from tower. If you're on IFR, you'll go from tower to departure to center, and then center to approach to tower, and of course ground frequencies at the end.
1-4 left, clear left. Evac 4 Alpha Lima, station looks great now. They're on a half-mile final. 4 Alpha Lima.
I can see those dark clouds rolling in. See if I can adjust my...
981 Heavy Boeing Tower, good evening. Waiting IFR release, landing medevac.
Okay, so we have the 767 on an IFR release right now.
11 o'clock, 3 miles is setting up for a straight in runway 14 left Cessna. 4 Alpha Lima, negative contact. Trouble, try to get safe.
Something else we get here, I don't know wherever you're from, if you're watching, but we will get a lot of medevac flights here. Generally flights for, things like organ donors, that kind of stuff, or somebody that has like a, critical life issue that needs immediate support or help in an area that doesn't have that immediate support and help, so they have to fly them. Get a lot of medevac here. All right, let's take a look at our flight radar here. Sorry for the noises there. Okay. Go back to the Boeing Field. What do we see? Arrivals one. Oh, wow. What's going on here? Internet. Hello. Okay, so the Louisville, okay, so that's what we're waiting on, is that Louisville. 767, the 757 is, they've got, there's another 767 with its beacon on over there. Adjust my aperture here.
4 Alpha Lima, left at 3, cross the left, taxi to northeast via Alpha, just monitor.
So we've got a 76 that looks like it's backing up, which is earlier than expected. That's for Ontario.
Okay, you can take the left at 5 or 6, contact ground point 9, have a great night.
Yeah, we're supposed to have a 7.6 and a 7.5. Oh, you know what? Maybe the 7.6 is delayed and the 7.5 is the one that's out there. Maybe that's what it is.
EVS 981 Heavy.
We'll find out.
We're waiting for wake turbulence overhead into SeaTac. Tracon can't figure out that you're bigger than a 7.8.
Oh. What do we have here? Flying right overhead is from Taipei, 78710. EVA Air. All right, UPS is clear for takeoff, so we're going to switch back over there. They're going to take the active. Last week when I was at Seattle International, we had a EVA Air actually had to do a go-around because it was behind an E-175 and a 20-knot takeover speed, which, for those of you who know this stuff, 20 knots takeover is pretty significant when you're on final. In any case, the EVA had to go around, which kind of stunk. But at the same time, it also forced Seattle approach, put them on a different runway. So we would have had a great clean shot of that EVA Air back last week. But because of the go-around, we ended up having to watch it from a distance because it came in. Oh, this is an interesting one. A little hot rod. Oh, where'd you go? There you are. Cessna 310 turbo heading to not available. Okay. Thanks, Flight Radar. Appreciate your help. I thought the UPS was clear for takeoff. That's what I thought I heard on the comms, but perhaps not. See if they're still down there.
EVS 981 Heavy, thanks to patience. Runway 14 right, Bravo 1. Line up and wait, no traffic on final.
Okay, there we go.
Runway 14 right, Bravo 1.
Thanks for your patience. Line up and wait. All right, here we go.
EVS 981 Heavy, traffic mile off the departure ends and a left turn north eastbound, no factor. Runway 14 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 767. Oh, we got to do this at least once.
Number 3, Juliet, I need to continue that left turn, follow the shoreline northbound until you get to about I-90, then you can make that right turn.
I'll keep it around and follow the
All right, folks, here comes the heavy.
Here it comes! Get ready for the heavy!
Had to do that at least once. All right, 767. Rotation on its way to Louisville. See ya.
For Bellevue, and then from Bellevue on course to the cruise.
Right-hand turn, and you get north of the island and south of Bellevue, and then on course.
All right.
UPS 91 Heavy, contact Seattle departure. Have a safe flight, great night.
Sure, thanks, UPS 91.
Safe flight, great night. I like that.
6 Bravo, Boeing Tower, welcome back. Fly the Duwamish, report the bridge, please.
Fly the Duwamish, report the bridge, 6 Bravo.
So you'll hear things like that. Fly the Duwamish. Duwamish is, well, it's actually originally is a Native American tribe, the Duwamish. There are areas of the Seattle area, actually all of Washington State, that are named after Native American tribes. So Duwamish is one of them. So anyway, that's the arrival when they say fly the Bellevue arrival, fly the Duwamish arrival. Those are VFR arrivals, so visual flight rules arrivals. So those are designed for the pilots that are just coming in on visual flight rules, and they know a certain pattern that they have to fly. So it looks like we've got that other UPS flight that is about ready to do its thing. And I will stick around for this last UPS flight, and then I think we'll call it an evening. Got to get home, make money. Not making money doing this. Got to get home and make dinner for the family. So we do have an aircraft on arrival here. It's another Pilatus. Oh, sorry, departure. And again, it says flight radar is very helpful when it says not available, not available.
Departure 126, thanks.
So if you're enjoying your evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you may be, this is Geaux Flying, relatively new plane spotting channel based here in the Seattle area. My stage name, if you want to call it that, is Rainy Cajun. I'm originally from Louisiana, and now that I live up here in the Seattle area, which rains a lot, I decided to call myself Rainy Cajun. So that's where the name comes from, in case anybody's ever wondering. Most people aren't, but in any case. We do, I'm a pilot by hobby. I've been flying since I was 18, and I am now in my 50s, so you can kind of do the math there. But I'm also involved heavily in tech. So one of the nice things about being able to blend all that together, not the age part. The age part is, I wish I couldn't blend that, but the actual blending of aviation and technology is something that I've always loved to see. And aviation always lags behind when it comes to technology. And it's not for reasons that are nefarious or anything like that. It really just comes down to certification. It's safety. That's what it boils down to more than anything else. It's safety. You know, you gotta make sure that whatever it is, whatever new tech you're developing, is safe for the general public. So I understand why things aren't rolled out so quickly, but just today I was updating the navigation systems in one of the aircraft that I work on here at Boeing Field, and it was a brand new system, and I was shocked at how fast it started up and how fast all the data loaded into the system. You know, I was used to kind of an older rig, so to speak, that has been around since the early 2000s, and it took some time. It took a lot of time, actually, for the whole thing to boot up and get going, and I was really shocked at how quickly this booted, and also how quickly it did all the things I needed it to do. So anyway, so yeah, that's who I am. That's who the channel is. We're new. We are, you know, we service the Seattle area, so to speak. But we're not opposed to, I'm not opposed to going to other locations throughout the United States. Actually, frankly, throughout the world. It really just comes down to being able to travel there in a time frame that works for me. I happen to know somebody who may or may not be a offspring of mine that works for an airline where I can get pretty decent rates on flights. So that part is not a factor. It's more about just the time, being able to get away from the Seattle area and take on, you know, a live stream in a different place, different locale, different country, different regulations even. I don't even know. So there's some countries that I want to go to. I don't even know if they're going to let me film stuff, let alone stream it. You know, so those are the kinds of things we have to look out for as live streamers. And I do this mainly because I love the industry. I love aviation. I love flying. Ever since I was a kid growing up, watching the aircraft land over my house in New Orleans, I have always been enamored with aviation. So this is my way of kind of being able to give back. And I know that a place like Boeing Field, giving back is kind of, you know, it's relative, right? It's like every now and then we'll catch that rare aircraft. Seattle International, definitely way easier to just kind of constant live stream stuff. So, you know, but to the extent that I can, I try to share my passion, my love for aviation, and hopefully you get benefit from that. So we are, let's see where we're at right now. What are we waiting on? Because that 76 is now taxiing, which is a good thing. We want that to take off. This will be our last, I thought it was going to be our last. I see a 7.5 with its beacons on, which means it's going to be backing out shortly here. Today. We're going to wait until, so we've got this UPS that's crossing the parallels right now. This one's going to take off. We'll catch that for sure. And then there's another one that has its beacons on, and assuming that backs out in a relatively decent amount of time, we'll go to them as well. All right, so what do we got coming up here? This is Delta, an A330 from Heathrow. Would you look at that? Man, those people got to be tired. Okay, back to the action on the field. So we have departing at the same time, which I think is awesome for a way to end a relatively low-key stream today. This is just something that, again, I came out here to service an aircraft, and I said, you know what? There's probably a few peeps out there. I know there's other streams going on. I look at that stuff, but it's nice to see that other people come on and take a look at this. UPS operations, not the most exciting thing in the world if you're not right up on the aircraft.
987 is when you hold short.
Yes, 987, Boeing Tower, hold short, runway 14 right, Bravo 1.
Hold short, runway 14 right, UPS 9.
Okay, so the UPS is holding short. Holding short, for those of you uninitiated, means that they're stopping the plane just short of the runway active area. So this allows other aircraft that may be landing or taking off to be able to do their things, and this aircraft kind of sticks behind. And there are actually hold short lines. You can see them right here. Those are not runways. Runway as well.
PS 987, winds 2503, runway 14 right, Bravo 1, clear for takeoff.
All right, so our UPS flight is cleared for takeoff. So we'll catch this one going, and then we'll catch that one going, and then we'll wrap it. That'll be a nice day at Boeing Field. Again, 7 UPS. And they are on takeoff roll, as you can hear. And this says 757, so maybe that's what it is. So, yeah, we'll see. Oh yeah, it is. It was a 757. One of the things I love about the 757 is actually not about the aircraft itself, it's the engines. I do not believe these engines were the engines that I like. That is the RB211 engines. Okay, nerd time, nerd alert. RB211 engines have been around. They're from Rolls-Royce. Amazing engines. They've got this roar to them, kind of like what you just heard with the 757, but it's just, you know it's coming, and there's out of New Orleans, and my God, I could hear that distinct roar coming from the airfield as these planes were taking off. Was so distinct and so different from any other aircraft. And mind you, I was growing up in an era where there was tons of 727s. 737 was just kind of getting going, and that was with the old 200 engines, that what a lot of my friends call the rope start engines. I don't know why they call it that, but they call it the rope starts. And then you had, I don't know, DC-9s, which eventually became ND-11s. But for the most part, you didn't really get anything special out of New Orleans. Moisant, and now it's called Louis International Airport. Anyway, it was just something that you just couldn't really appreciate unless you lived there. But if you've ever been in a town, if you're old enough to remember the L-1011, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And even if you don't, there are certain airplanes like the A220. The A220, you can hear that plane, and it's got this distinct engine sound that no other aircraft has. And for whatever reason, that's going to define that plane. Certainly to plane spotters. And nowadays, with people like us who are recording these things all over the world, A220s they're gonna become, I don't know, for lack of a better term, famous for their engine sound. So anyway, that goes back all the way to the UPS 757 that just departed like 5 minutes ago. With the old the 757s were originally outfitted with the RB211s. So these days they've been switched out. A lot of them have been switched out to newer, more modern engines, but still have a special place in my heart for that RB211. Okay, so let's take a look here. We've got a 767 300ER. This is the UPS flight. This will be our last flight of the evening. This will be departing to the south and heading to Ontario, California. So, not Canada. And can't really... they're still there. They're just taxiing. They're taking their merry time. I am about to run out of iPhone battery, which I guess is okay at the end of the day. Oh, got another Pilatus PC-12. There's our Sun Country 737 charter.
Boeing Tower, UPS 93, heavy Q. Runway 14 right, ready for departure. UPS 93, heavy Boeing Tower, hold short, runway 14 right, Bravo 1, waiting out for release.
Okay, so they're waiting for release again. Gotta love that. Thanks again for joining today, this evening, or on the replay. Really appreciate it. This is Geaux Flying. This is a kind of a hobbyist channel. I'm just, just looking to share aviation up in the Seattle area. Maybe points beyond at some point, but right now we're just we're hanging out at Boeing Field. We go to Seattle International. I have not been to Renton. I've only been to Payne Field once. Payne Field is the primary production facility for all of the heavy aircraft that come from Boeing. There is some 787 manufacturing that happens on the East Coast, but a large percentage of it, especially the 777X, is based out here. So here we have our 767 300ER freighter on its way to Ontario, taking the active. This will be our final flight of the evening. Want to thank everybody for joining, whoever tuned in or tuned in after the fact. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Here comes a heavy.
Here it comes! Get ready for the heavy!
All right, here we go. All right, we'll say goodbye to UPS, and we will say goodbye for the evening. Thanks again so much for those of you who tuned in live, and then for those of you who may have watched afterwards. Really appreciate it. We're going to get up on out of here, go make some dinner for the family, and relax a little bit. So have a great evening, have a great afternoon, have a great morning, wherever you may be. This is Geaux Flying. We are at Boeing Field, and we will see you next time.
Charlie, Papa, Charlie, Sierra, Papa with the traffic.
Helicopter truck through crossing at center line 300 feet now, no factor. 177 runway 1 forward left, 20 building ballpark. That's 237 Mike, thanks for the patience. Crossing winds with 32070, runway 14 right, clear for takeoff.